Welcome to this Cronkite News Special. I'm Chloe Nordquist. Thanks for joining us. Our Cronkite News reporters strive to make an impact in covering education in Arizona. Tonight, a look at challenges facing schools across Arizona and the creative ways teachers are finding solutions and inspiring children in the classroom.
Arizona Republican Senator Jeff Dial has proposed SB 1416, which would effectively take away a lot of the state superintendent's authority over the State Board of Education. Current schools Chief Diane Douglas addressed her concerns with the bill this morning. Cronkite News reporter MARGIOTT was in the room for the testimony.
It was a tense atmosphere inside the Senate Education Committee room this morning as the Superintendent Diane Douglas went back and forth with the bill's sponsor and with the chairwoman over her authority over the State Board of Education.
You can call evil good and good evil. I guess you can also call unlawful lawful if you want to.
Harsh words from the superintendent this morning after a lengthy and spirited debate in front of the Senate Education Committee. The bill in question, SB 1416, which would take away a lot of Douglas's powers over the State Board of Education. She argued it would turn her into a figurehead.
Imagine how you would feel if someone introduced a bill that would make you a legislator in name only.
Her testimony alone lasted over a half an hour and was filled with many tense exchanges like this.
But where does it say that, ma'am? Where does it say it in the statutes that she's supposed to report to you?
Douglas's main argument that the Board of Education can't govern itself because it only meets for a few hours once a month. She said governing the board is her job, according to the state constitution. But Dial argued that that power was derived from state law.
The state law currently under statute says the superintendent supervises these. So it sounds like there's been neglect on whoever's been the superintendent for years.
The citizens of Arizona are entitled to know that every single employee who works for the state are properly supervised on an ongoing day-to-day basis to do the job that they're being paid to do. That's why it's tasked with the superintendent's office, because we're the ones that are there to do it.
Superintendent Douglas did not comment on whether or not she would go forward with a lawsuit if the bill were to pass in the legislature. Reporting at the Capitol, MARGIOTT, Cronkite News.
A Flagstaff High School guidance counselor who won a trip to the White House will be coming home with a national award. Washington Bureau reporter Wafa Shahid has the details.
I'm here outside of the White House, where First Lady Michelle Obama just named the 2016 Counselor of the Year. She happens to be Katherine Pastor, a high school counselor at Flagstaff High School.
Today was real fulfilling, knowing that all the hours and time that you put in at your job and away from your job on making students inspired to do more than what they think that they can do is reassuring that I'm doing the right thing.
The First Lady, backed by 42 counselors from all over the country, was especially impressed with Flagstaff High School.
In just 7 short years, Flagstaff High School they've seen a 13% increase in college acceptance rates and a 50% increase in the number of colleges that visit their campus.
And the First Lady was also impressed with Katherine Pastor.
Pastor wants nothing more than to see students succeed and become the best versions of themselves. The students said that is school counseling. Yeah.
One of Pastor's former students spoke about how she has helped him succeed even years after high school.
Even though it has been 4 years since I graduated from Flagstaff High School, Ms. Pastor continues to reach out and assist with any questions I have.
But all this celebration hasn't clouded Pastor's mind. She's ready to get back to work come Monday.
And to go back on Monday, hit the ground running again, and keep inspiring those young people to live up to their potential and reach their dreams.
Reporting in Washington, D.C., I'm Wafa Shahid, Cronkite News.
Thousands gathered at the state capitol to celebrate the end of school choice week. The governor also took a moment to encourage voters to support Prop 123, which would increase education funding by $3.5 billion over 10 years. Reporter Sydney Glenn found out why school choice is such an important topic here in Arizona.
Students, teachers, parents, and supporters gathered at the Capitol to celebrate school choice here in Arizona.
It is everything, especially here in Arizona. I definitely think that a lot of the schools are underfunded. You know, you always hear about schools needing help.
The rally celebrated the different types of schooling options available for students.
School choice should be our mission today, tomorrow, and every day in the state of Arizona.
Finding the right school isn't always easy, but when it's right, parents just seem to know.
The school that I'm here representing, Telias Preparatory Academy, does a lot for the children that attend the school as well as my family.
Kids took a little time away from the classroom to hear from the governor.
Great things can happen when we put Arizona kids first in our state.
And to let loose. The rally ended with a school choice dance where everyone showed off their moves in support. In Phoenix, Sydney Glenn, Cronkite News.
You might have the opportunity to choose what standardized test your child takes thanks to a new bill that passed in the Senate Education Committee today. It passed 6-1. Senate Bill 1455 would allow parents to opt their kids out of the state standardized test and choose a different assessment. But the bill still has to come before the full Senate. Right now, the AZ Merit is being used in schools, and if you want to opt out, you might have a difficult time. But the U.S. Department of Education is threatening to cut funding if enough students opt out. Senator Steve Smith says he supports this bill anyway.
I hope and pray one day we can actually take back our dollars that we send Washington and allocate them in our state for our children the way that we want to. And not keep on bended knee asking the federal government, can I spend my money this way now? No, okay, we'll be stuck with this ridiculous Common Core crap.
Up to this point, the federal government has never withheld funds from schools that didn't measure enough students. Though no one spoke against the bill, there was some concern that some of the language in the bill is a little too restrictive and that it may be difficult to implement. Senator David Bradley was the only one to vote no. He says parents ultimately already have the right to opt their kids out, though it may be difficult.
I think this bill just gets in the way right now of where we are trying to go in terms of the menu of tests, getting those things in place.
That menu of tests he's talking about, that's a different bill, SB 1321. It would allow schools to choose from a menu of tests approved by the state rather than having one state test.
A dime. It may be worth just 10 cents to most of us, but as Sydney Schofield reports, one Cave Creek bus driver is finding ways to make it worth so much more to his students.
Norm Rogers is not your average bus driver.
He treats us like we're not just students at a school and we're like actually real people.
And his students in the Cave Creek Unified School District notice.
He's just the best bus driver I've ever had.
So when Christmas came around, he saw an opportunity.
So many of the bus drivers in the past that I'm familiar with have given candy, cookies, brownies. I'd like to do something that was a little more memorable.
He gave them all a 90% pure silver dime, minted just before World War II. And with the coin, a message.
This little dime, because of the way the economy is now, who knows? A dime in 10 years could be worth $300. Your education is worth far more.
He packaged the note and coin in little boxes with Christmas stickers, hoping they had a gift they could keep forever. Though most of his students aren't even in high school yet, the value of his message was not lost on them.
The coin meant that we would succeed in life, and it actually made us feel like someone actually did care and cared about our future and how we were going to make it in the real world.
With the stress facing students today, Norm just wants them to know how important it is to stay in school.
With a good education, your challenges will be lighter. With a good education, your future will be brighter.
And with Norm in the driver's seat, these students are on that road to success. In Cave Creek, I'm Sydney Schofield, Cronkite News.
Many parents and teachers reached out to Norm after his heartwarming gift to students. His district even awarded him Employee of the Month for January.
A new public school is making its way into the Phoenix Union School District, and it's the only one focus is coding. Cronkite News reporter Amanda Kukula takes us inside.
The Phoenix Coding Academy focuses on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And the brand new school is combining all of those elements to inspire students to innovate. It's the first time the flag was raised for the Valley's new specialty small school, Phoenix Coding Academy.
We'd like to see all of our students successfully going into college or jobs related to their field of study here at the school. I think In 4 years or 5 years, it will be considered successful. Every single one of our students has an opportunity to pursue their passions in the tech field.
The courses offered through the school include web and gaming design, software development, networking, engineering, robotics, and other STEM-related concepts. Dan Hardy, one of the designers for the school's flag and hiring manager for GoDaddy, sees graduates as future employees.
I'm very excited. I think this is going to be something very good for not just Phoenix, but the Valley as a whole and the state as well. As a hiring manager, it's something that I've experienced where we need more young people who can get to work and know the industry and what we need.
Principal Seth BEUTE is focused on making sure his students are ready for college and wherever their careers will take them.
We want students to come here every day thinking about what they'll learn. We want students every day to ask themselves, what problems can I solve and what can I create? And then how do we help make that happen? And that's been one of our guiding ideas since the early days of our planning team.
And internship programs are also in the works. And teachers are also asked to offer students dual enrollment so that they can graduate high school with at least 2 years of college underneath their belt. The school is opening in August, and its freshman class is going to be about 100 to about 120 students. For more details, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
With today's technology, typing is the main way we write. While writing in cursive is something many of us rarely do besides maybe a signature here and there, Cronkite News reporter Amanda Kukula went to Lake Havasu City to show us how cursive may make its way back into Arizona schools.
I think that everyone should be taught cursive.
But it's not required. Cursive is not part of the Common Core curriculum that was implemented in Arizona schools in 2010. Senate Bill 1197 would change that, and students would have to learn cursive reading and writing.
I like to write in cursive because there's a ton of loop-de-loops and twists in it.
Third grade teacher Teresa Nigg makes sure her students at Starline Elementary in Lake Havasu City still learn cursive.
I think it's a great idea because there's lots of research that cursive writing has linked to developing memory and fine motor skills.
Although Ms. Nigg says keyboarding skills are important as well, her students would be crushed if they never got the chance to learn it.
Because typewriting is easier and cursive is more challenging, and I like more challenging things. Because I'm used to writing print over and over again, and it's a change.
Starline Elementary is just one of the schools in Arizona to still teach their students cursive reading and writing. But by putting this bill into place, it will soon require all schools across Arizona to teach their students cursive by the end of 5th grade. And it's also important to the Arizona Department of Education and the Superintendent of Public Instruction, Diane Douglas.
She sees it as being more than just being able to sign your name, being able to read historical documents, but there are connections that can be made for students when they're writing in cursive that are different from the connections you make when you're writing just standard script.
In a recent amendment, cursive would not be part of the statewide achievement testing if the bill is passed. In Lake Havasu City, Amanda Kukla, Cronkite News.
There's a huge need for what's called middle skill workers, jobs that often require less than a bachelor's degree but more than a high school diploma. Funding for career technical education programs that train those types of workers was cut by the state legislature in 2010. But Aziz Zhang reports those programs are about to get back in the black.
The person cheering is Arizona Senate Minority Leader Katie Hobbs, and the reason is a little more than winning this game at CTE Day at the Bowling Memorial Park. Last week, nearly $30 million were put back to career technical education funding by Governor Doug Ducey.
I'm glad he saw the light and decided that we needed to save these programs.
Programs that some high school students like Catherine Leon see as their future.
It's incredibly valuable to students. I wouldn't be near where I am today without my CTE class.
Career technical education prepares students who'd like to pursue jobs like mechanics or in low-level finance. Since 2010, more than half of all job openings in Arizona fall into this middle skill category, according to National Skills Coalition. Universal Technical Institute, or UTI, is one of the few institutions in Arizona that provide training for people to become modern mechanics.
It's not just as simple as going out and swapping out parts. You have to be able to diagnose electrical issues and do the appropriate repairs to vehicles.
According to UTI, today's cars have more computing power than the system that guided Apollo astronauts to the moon. This requires service technicians at your car repair stop to be knowledgeable in science and technology. And the demand for those skilled people remains high.
We need technicians. We need technicians. If I had 4 technicians apply today, I'd hire them on the spot.
Bergstrom says he also looks for people who have strong English and writing skills. In Phoenix, Zizeng, Cronkite News.
The costs of programs at UTI range from $21,000 to $31,000. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, median pay for automotive service technicians in 2014 was roughly $37,000 a year.
A bill that would expand a school scholarship program to virtually all public school students is making its way through the legislature, but not everyone supports this bill. Cronkite News reporter Amanda Kukala was at the Capitol today for a news conference about House Bill 2482.
ESA, otherwise known as the Empowerment Scholarship Account, is a program that allows parents to use state tax dollars for private school tuition. A program that was once only available to about 2,200 students with a disability or special needs. But now the House Bill 2482 aims to expand the program to all public school students. Children's Action Alliance gathered today in front of Arizona State Senate Law to protest the bill. Dana Wolfe, NAIMARK president and CEO of Children's Action Alliance, is concerned that public schools will lose too much state funding.
It's taking money out that is desperately needed for classrooms, for technology, for textbooks, to hire and retain quality teachers. And we know that voters all over the state and business leaders are calling loud and strong for more investment in public schools. These policies actually create less investment. It's the wrong direction.
So far, the Senate has passed their version of the bill. Yesterday, the House delayed their debate. If passed and signed into law, the program would cover kindergarten through high school by 2019. Live in the newsroom, Amanda Kukala, Cronkite News.
New bills moving through the House and Senate will cut more than $200 million from some Arizona school districts. The bill would phase out desegregation and Office for Civil Rights funding that has been in place for more than 30 years.
In the 1970s and 80s, many complaints were filed in Arizona school districts, complaints of segregation and racial inequality. Through the courts, 19 school districts were given more than $200 million in what's being called desegregation or Office for Civil Rights funding.
The legislature back then allowed those school districts that had received complaints to go out to their local taxpayers and charge them an extra tax. It never went to a vote of the public.
House Bill 2401 aims to phase out this funding. An identical bill is moving through the Senate. SB 1125 is sponsored by Senator Debbie Lesko, who says segregation in Arizona schools is not still an issue.
There's no longer any problems, yet these people are still being taxed for a decades-old complaint.
With many students that aren't native English speakers, districts like Phoenix Union High School District say they have to provide an equal and typically more expensive education to those students.
To say that there's no longer racial issues and equity issues, and that was just 20 years ago, is absolutely false. There will always be issues of equity and excellence.
Senator Lesko is also adamant that this won't have a big impact on local school districts.
I just don't buy the notion that we're going to devastate any schools.
But some schools see things differently.
If this bill is passed, that's $55 million that will be phased out of Phoenix, $55 million phased out of Phoenix Union. It collapses our system.
Without the approval of taxpayers, Senator Lesko says this funding needs to go.
Why should another district that's neighboring to them get extra money? It's not competitive. It's not fair.
Dr. Guestin doesn't think this solves a fairness problem between districts.
A lot of people in the general public think, well, if we eliminate DSEG, it gets put back into the system and redistributed. If you get rid of DSEG funds, it goes away. It leaves education.
These bills passed in their committees but are now up for a vote in the full House and full Senate. Phasing this money out will cut funding from around a quarter of Arizona's kids, but the Arizona Tax Research Association says if you live in districts like Phoenix Union and Phoenix Elementary, your overall property taxes could be lowered by around 17% after the phase-out period.
Get a driver's license and a voter registration card? The Arizona House is calling for an amendment to our state constitution to lower the voting age from 18 to 16 years old. Cronkite News reporter Amber KAHWAJI spoke to one Valley teacher who says this amendment has his vote of yes. Amber?
Drive a car, get married with parental consent, and even be tried as an adult if they commit a violent felony or a double murder. But there is one thing that they can't do, at least not now, and that's vote.
21 is the current age.
For these students, voting is just another day in the classroom.
We're going to use the remotes on this. You guys ready to vote?
That's because Maryville High School teacher BARRETT NITSCHKE believes the youth need to be heard.
Every age group has their own perspective about what the country should be.
And perspective is what his students receive when they practice voting during class hour. But those votes submitted moments ago don't count. However, this could change if HCR 2046 gets passed, lowering the voting age from 18 to 16 in state elections.
All you need is a simple majority in both the House and the Senate to pass the amendment along to the voters. There, it only takes another simple majority, 51% of the voters, to approve the amendment.
Though some may feel 16 is too young to have the power to vote, NITSCHKE thinks otherwise.
16, 17-year-olds pay about $9 billion in taxes every year, but they don't have a vote. So the whole country was based on no taxation without representation, so why not them too?
If I was given the right to, I would definitely go out because I wouldn't want this right being wasted, because if the government of the state thinks that my age group is capable of that, then I would definitely help and be responsible for what decisions be made.
One of the main reasons people agree with lowering the voting age is because they believe it will help with the voter turnout of the younger demographic. The 18 to 29-year-old age bracket has consistently remained the lowest group to go out and vote, staying between 20 and 40% of the voter turnout range. In Phoenix, Amber KAHWAJI, Cronkite News.
This week marks National Weights and Measurements Week, a national event that celebrates the first weights and measurements law that was signed by President John Adams in 1799. Cronkite News reporter Amanda Kukula went along as students learn what it takes to be a smart shopper.
Fifth grade students from Butler Elementary have been learning the importance of units of measurements while sitting in their classrooms. But with the help of Walmart and the Arizona Department of Weights and Measures, the students took the test out to the real world.
I hope that they learn that the math they're learning in class is not just for testing, but also to help extend your money and the value of your dollar.
The Arizona Department of Weights and Measures teamed up with stores across Arizona to teach elementary students how to be smart consumers. Cesar Rodriguez, an investigator for the Arizona Department of Weights and Measures, shows kids that what they're learning in school is essential in today's world.
We have various stations where we help them see the math that they're learning in school applies to everyday life and how they can put not only the learning they're putting in school, but put it to function out here in the real world.
This fun way of learning units includes stations, such as knowing how to calculate the volume of pumping gas, checking labels before purchasing, checking wear and tear, and price verification.
The importance of these stations is that for us, it's a big chunk of what we do for the consumer out there. But at the same time, it hits specific to their curriculum and what it is that they're learning at this age group.
Damian DeSantiago, the compliance manager for the Department of Weights and Measures, believes that these stations will improve the way they will shop.
I feel that they will be excited about the different shopping methods and the different abbreviations that you actually see in the store, LBS for pounds, the abbreviation for each. I want them to leave here knowing they can go home and teach their parents, and it just makes you a better consumer.
The Arizona Department of Weights and Measures have been traveling around Arizona all week, working with different schools from Yuma and Tucson. Amanda Kukla, Cronkite News.
At this weekend's ASU Dance Marathon, it wasn't about anyone's skills on the dance floor. As Sydney Schofield reports, it was about a commitment to Arizona's kids.
This weekend, bad dancing saved lives. At ASU's 4th annual dance marathon, students spent 12 hours on their feet for Phoenix Children's Hospital to help kids like Chance Peterson.
In 2010, I was diagnosed with UPJ extraction, simply put as a blocked kidney. So I've been a patient here for quite a while.
At just 10 years old, Chance is the youngest child on the advisory board at PCH.
I just wanted to give back to PCH in a good way, and that's how I decided to do it.
And his favorite part of Dance Marathon?
I'm gonna have to say maybe the laser tag. So far.
Helping to organize this event was a no-brainer for volunteers like Brady Madden.
My favorite part is just seeing how much the kids get into it. Like Aiden and Ethan, they come up on the stage with us every time. They're dancing, they're running around, interacting with everybody. So just to see them happy.
There were pay-to-play opportunities all night, and you could even arrest your friends with the help of Chance and other patients until enough money was raised to set them free. As the sun set at ASU's Sun Devil Fitness Complex on Saturday, the fun was just getting started. Dancers stayed until midnight and raised more than $28,000 for the Phoenix Children's Hospital.
It's always fun being here with the activities and just like being with people and hanging out and getting to know other people.
Giving these kids and donors a marathon night of fun. In Tempe, Sydney Schofield, Cronkite News.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. We are proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Hi, I'm Paula Kruger. I hear from so many of you that watching great British dramas like Downton Abbey, Sherlock, and Call the Midwife is a wonderful escape from the stresses of daily life. You've told me they transport you to another time and place. Please, donate to this PBS station to keep these stories available for you and everyone, now and for generations to come. Support great drama. Support this PBS station.